Hey everybody, it's me Stacey, licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard, and Couture Creations, here with today's Take Two Tuesday event. I know the time is a little bit different. We're premiering a little bit later than normal, and that's because I just finished up with Suzanne on HSN Gets Crafty with Suzanne on the group page, the HSN group page, and their YouTube channel, and I sure hope you joined me for that. I know we had a great time. And then I bebopped back over here so I can do today's Take Two Tuesday event, and we can premiere it and live chat right over there, live chat during the premiere. So it really is a two for today between HSN and here with my new Sizzix collection for October. Now, if you missed the HSN Gets Crafty with Suzanne and Stacey and Sizzix, head on over to their YouTube page and you will find it there. Absolutely. And I know we had a great time because I know what I'm planning to do. So today is all about October. I get to show you the collection for October, my Sizzix collection for October. It has stencils, it has embossing folders, it has a die. It's it's a capsule collection is what they call it. So very concise and specific, and I added two elements to this collection that you'll be able to use with product that I launched a little bit earlier. So today it's all about a show and tell. I can't wait to share with you my October collection. It will be available October 1st at your most favorite retailers, independent brick and mortars, independent onlines. You're going to find this everywhere. So are you ready to see the October Stacey Park collection for Sizzix? Me too. All right, let's tilt on down and let's get started. I can't wait. Now, let's zoom on in. As y'all know, I'm my own camera person. Girl does the best she can. Zoom on in and maybe down just a little bit more. All right, I think that's good. So, first products, I have an embossing folder for you. It's called Sunday in the Park. It is a 3D embossing folder, and it is filled with linear lines, florals and linear lines, because those linear lines are going to let you sand that reveals paper beautifully. And now there's two different kinds of reveals paper. There's the original that I launched, and then there's new spice that's come out. So 3D embossing folder, again, lots of detail, lots of depth, beautiful images, and oodles of linear lines to really pop it out, to really make those florals pop. But I added to it a coordinating stencil, 2-layer stencil, only 2 layers, trying to keep the price point to where everybody loves it. So the stencil is a standalone stencil. You don't need to use the embossing folder with it. It will be beautiful all on its own. The embossing folder is beautiful all on its own, but then you put the two of them together and, well, you make magic. And like I said, it's a 2-layer stencil. That's it, easy peasy, mac and cheesy. Let me show you some samples. So here I have just the stencil all by itself. Just the stencil by itself. Love. But here I have the stencil and the embossing folder. So pretty. Here I have the embossing folder on opulent paper. Can you say yummy? I know, it's pretty beautiful, right? And here, just the stencil alone. Look at the bold colors. And last, the stencil, again with a satin sheet of opulent paper that really highlights all those linear lines. So the first two, a new 3D embossing folder with a coordinating stencil. They work together, they work by themselves, and they really do make some beautiful, beautiful projects. Then we move on to my second stencil and embossing folder, and this time I went definitely more geometric. I was thinking, okay, we need something for guys, we need something for tweens, we need something that has a little bit of an edge to it. So I did a 3D embossing folder. Again, oodles of linear lines. If you have Sizzix Reveals paper, you are going to love these embossing folders with it. It just makes it so easy. You run the Reveals paper through it, you sand those linear lines, and all of a sudden, that secondary color that's hidden in that Reveals paper pops up, and it makes it new and something interesting. Throw a sentiment on it, and you are good to go. But as I said, I've got a 2-layer stencil as well, giving you the option to just use the two. Actually, this stencil's so good. You can use single layers by itself. You can use them together. This is a great, using just the single layers by themselves is pretty cool. Use them together. It is a standalone stencil. Use the embossing folder by itself. It's a standalone embossing folder, or put them together and make something extraordinary. Oh, they're so much fun. Let's look at some samples. So here we mixed and matched. We have the geometric embossing folder in the back, but then we did the floral. Look at that, and just fussy cut it out and added it. A little bit of hard, a little bit of soft, a little bit of mirror going on. Looks great, huh? And here, again, using the embossing folder and the stencil to get perfect coloring every single time. But here we just use the stencil as the backdrop. Look at how soft and beautiful that is. Now this stamp launched in March, and well, this is coming up. But look at how pretty it is as a background. Just the stencil. Depending on the colors you use, you change it up entirely. Here, look at definitely bright, and it can run this way, and it can run this way, and it can run this way, but just the stencil, just playing with color. And then the stencil and the embossing folder for a great guy combination. Love this. Great guy combination. So my second set is a embossing folder and the coordinating stencil. So for October, I have 2 embossing folders and 2 coordinating stencils. The stencils are just 2 stencils each. They're not a 4-layer, they're just a 2-layer, and that's gonna keep that price point so good for all of you. Yay, can't wait. I'm so excited about these. All right, what's next? Next, I have an additional layering stencil, 2-layer stencil, but it works with a stamp that was launched in March. So I love this stamp set. It is big. It is big and it is bold. And the reason I did it so big and so bold is because this stamp set allows you to do an A2, an A6, a 5x7, slimline. You can cut this stamp up into so many different sizes for card making or layouts or altered art, and it did launch back in March. So if you haven't seen it before, well, you picked the perfect time to see this one. It is just beautiful. So this is my Cosmopolitan Inspire, and this time in October, I brought out the coordinating 2-layer stencil. So now you can stamp and color. But as I said before, this is a standalone stencil. You could just use one stencil and just stencil all of this with color and make it beautiful, or embossing powder, or you could use the 2 to make the whole design. Or you can put it right on top of your stamped image and color in perfectly every single time. So the stamp launched in March. It was my first collection. I have added to it in October with a beautiful stencil set. And again, big enough that you are then going to be able to take it and cut it down to whatever size makes your heart happy. Let's look at some samples. So here, super small. The square is coming up, but we stamped and stenciled. Here, we just stenciled. Here, we stenciled only first, but then we ran it through one of my 3D embossing folders, the geometric. Here is just the stencil by itself, nothing more than the stencil. So you could cut it into an A2, you could cut it into an A6, you could do a 5x7, you could do 2 slim lines with this. Just the stencil. And then here I have the stencil and the stamp together for perfect coloring every time. And because the stencil, again, is just 2 layers, easy peasy it is. So if you already have my Inspire stamp, well, you're going to want to get the stencil to coordinate. And if you haven't seen either of them, you may want both of them, or maybe you're just a stamper and you love this stamp. Well, it's already available, and the coordinating stencil is coming out October 1st. Now, next I have another where I have done a stamp from my March collection. This is Petals. Love this. It's a beautiful stamp. Again, it's a big background stamp, A5 background stamp. Big, 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 which means, again, lots of opportunity to cut it into pieces that you need. Did this back in March, and now I have brought out the coordinating 2-layer stencil to match. And same thing here, you can use just one stencil or you can use them together. You have opportunity to do it all. The stencil stands alone. It's beautiful all by itself. It really is. But then you add the stamp with it and it just amps it up that much more. So stamp currently available, stencil launching October 1st. Let's look at some samples. Here is the stencil all by itself. So pretty. Here is the stencil and the stamp, and then the stamp used as a watermark with some embossing powder. Here we have the stencil all by itself. But then we have this great card which gives you a little bit of everything. Here is the stamp all by itself. Here's the stamp and the stencil. Here's the stencil all by itself. Here is the stamp all by itself. Here's the stamp and stencil, and here's just the stencil, so that you get to see what could be done if you had both. The stamp launched in March. It's available now. The stencil is October 1st. Love this card. Love that you've got all 3 different ways of using it into one card. The last thing I have for you is fanciful framelets. So I have been doing fanciful framelets with every one of my collections. I have launched my squares coming in October, and fanciful framelets are a unique item. They are not a typical nesting set die. The way the fanciful framelets work is that you have a die, and then you have an embossing feature, and then you have a die, and then you have an embossing feature. So you could use the dies by themselves, you could use the embossing features by themselves, or you can pair them together. Normally when you have a dotty or a stitched element into the die, it literally is built into the die. So you have to cut the dotty or the stitched element every single time you use the set. Not here. I'm giving you opportunity to just make plain frames, or to make frames with the embossing, or to make solid shapes, or I mean the opportunity, it's almost limitless with this. Truly it is. And I have several fanciful frames already out. I've got top notes, and I've got ovals, and I've got circles, and I've got rectangles, and I've got triangles, and I've got diamonds, and now I've got squares. So let's see some samples. So here we have the stencil, Petals stencil, and then we have our frame with the embossed element built into it, and just a sweet little card. Here again, we've used the Petals embossing folder, or the Petals stencil. We've got the embossed element into the fanciful framelets. And here, while these were kept as solids, this is a solid square, here we've done a frame with it, giving you more opportunity. And then our last one, here we've done the Petals stamp and stencil together. We've got the square matting here, we've got the square here with the embossed element added to it, just that little extra detail that makes everything pop. I just love my October collection. It is very concise, it's very user-friendly. It has oodles of opportunity in it. Let me go back just a little bit. Oodles of opportunity, lots to play with, lots to learn from, a chance to pull out something you may already have or add it into your crafty stash now that we have the coordinating stencil to go with it. And it all becomes available at retailers October 1st. So this is it, you guys. What do we think? Are we liking it? I think that the colors are fun. I think the fact that you get an opportunity to do this, or to do this, or to do that. I think it can go from being very, very, very sweet to very, very, very elegant. All in one collection. Thank you, you're welcome. I heard you. You were yelling at me saying, it's upside down, it's upside down. So, I am Stacey, and this is my October collection for Sizzix, launching October 1st. I, however, will be playing with this collection from today forward on our Take Two Tuesday events. So every week leading up to that, each Tuesday, I'll be pulling product, I'll be pulling some of these SKUs, and we'll be making makes with them. So I hope you join me every Tuesday for our Take Two Tuesday event. And if you were part of the HSN Gets Crafty with Suzanne and Stacey, thank you for being part of a 2 for today. I really appreciate it. Remember, we live chat during the premiere, so if you were part of the premiere, I hope I said hello to you. And if you've never live chatted with us before, we always live chat during the premieres of my classes. So again, I'm Stacey, and I'm a licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard, and Couture Creations. Excited to share with you my final collection for 2024 with Sizzix. Launches October 1st. And really is meant to give you opportunity to play and create and make pretty things for everybody. It's perfect for every level of crafter. Until next time, until next Tuesday, I will see you. Bye, everybody.